Wow, there sure are a lot of these. This one looks cool. Wonder how they designed everyone else. What do you mean it's only Sans? Oh, okay. Ooh, wait, this one looks neat. It's just Sans. This one's just two Sans? Not even Sans and Papyrus? Alright, to each their own, I guess. This one's just... And this one? And this one? And it's all Sans? Hi there, hello, I am Dirt and you can call me Dirt. And today I wanted to show you some concept art and sketches and an animatic for my Undertale AU March. I started it for funsies a while ago, and I honestly wasn't taking it seriously when I was initially making it, but I really like some of the characters I made for this little story. If you somehow don't know what an AU is, an AU, or an alternate universe, is basically an alternate telling of the world and story. Big shock. Think of the MCU with all the multiverses, or when people gender swap characters. Those would both technically fall under AU writing. And there are a lot of Undertale AUs out there. As you saw, some of the popular ones being things like Underfell, where the underground is a much more edgy or violent place, or Underswap, where the characters that are considered pairs have their personality swapped, Sans with Papyrus, Undyne with Alphys, and so on and so forth. These are great fun, albeit a bit complicated to research nowadays with how saturated the Undertale market is, if you will, which can make it difficult for some of the stories to get out there if they aren't fandom mainstream. But that's a topic for another day. So, instead of a typical AU that's Undertale but blank now, or those personality swaps, I decided to take it in a different direction. No shade to any of those AUs, I really like a lot of them. I just wanted to tell a different sort of story. Part 1. The concept. So one of those things that's never really answered or hinted at during the canon game was anything related to Frisk and their background. This makes sense, as they're fundamentally a self-interest for you to experience the game through, so any specificity would alter the perspective. This works well in the original game, however, it is a fun angle to take when making a story outside of the game's concept, especially when you use a different protagonist. How does that make an interesting story, you definitely didn't ask? Well, that's because of one fun little detail: the anniversary stream of the game. If you didn't know, for the 10-year anniversary of the game, they streamed a playthrough of the game that was different, to say the least. There were tons of added parts of the underground, and it makes a lot of sense. There's a whole civilization of monsters down here. Of course we didn't see every square inch of the place during our journey. And this is where March has room to play. Part 2. The protagonist. This is March. She's from the same orphanage Frisk is, and always took an older sister type role for them and the other kids there, even after she technically aged out of the home. So I ended up giving her the Soul of Perseverance because it fit the story the best. If you aren't aware of the souls in Undertale, or need a refresher, there are 7 known soul traits in the game: determination, perseverance, patience, integrity, justice, bravery, and kindness, with determination being in every soul and also Frisk's trait, giving them the ability to save and reset, just like a video game. Yeah, that part's a bit confusing, but we'll just go with it being a trait. It's safe to assume that every human gets a soul trait, and since this is an AU, I wanted to give each soul an ability, just to put them on more even footing with determination. So I decided the Soul of Perseverance gets 1 in-world revive per fight, so essentially she gets 1 fail per fight. On that's own, it seems really strong, but compared to the infinite tries for every fight determination gets, it's not near as strong. But Dirt, there's evidence that all humans could save and reset. Ah yes, my non-existent dissenter that's used for explanations. That may be true. However, that was because humans simply had the most determination by virtue of having a human soul, with Flowey being able to reset without one present. There is no explanation of what happens with multiple humans underground at once, and since Flowey loses the ability to reset when Frisk shows up, my idea has a little bit of precedent. So I've decided for my story that there's a hierarchy. The human with the most determination gets the red soul associated with it while being in the underground, which means if another, more determined human showed up, Frisk's soul wouldn't be determination anymore, but whatever trait they would have outside the underground. I don't know what it would be, but I'm leaning towards bravery or kindness for my Frisk because we're going true pacifist. Although bravery would also work for a genocide route, so you know. Anyways, after Frisk suddenly disappeared on a camping trip, March took it upon herself to go find them. This places her in an interesting position, trailing behind Frisk, who is still objectively the main character of Undertale. Frisk still has the determination, the saving and reloading that comes with it, and their journey mostly doesn't change. March is simply one step behind them and seeing the ripples of that journey. Part 3. The side characters. One thing I was kinda disappointed by whenever a new AU would pop up was the lack of focus on any other NPC, or even just a complete sideline of every character besides Sans and maybe Papyrus if we're lucky. It's understandable, I get it. It's for fun and the Skeleton Brothers are the fan favorites. It's just an unfortunate tendency of fandom favoritism. So I decided to focus on not only my new characters, but also less focused on characters like the Dog Guards, Toriel and Asgore, Alphys, and even more random NPCs like the Morose Monster, Fuku Fire, and the Skateboard Girl. I really wanted to try my hand at making my own Undertale characters and monsters especially. Once again, no shade to anyone who does more basic or simplistic OCs, y'all are feeding the fandom ecosystem. Keep making your Sans self ships, cringe is dead anyways. But I wanted to test my writing mettle to see if I could potentially make a character that could fit the game while being reasonably original. After a bit of doodling and concepting, along with some pun assistance from my dad, thanks for that by the way, I've made a sort of main cast for the story. So, accompanying March on her journey, we have her self-appointed guide dog, Divvy Dog. Divvy Dog is a trainee member of the Canine unit for the Royal Guard, characters I have also made redesigns for, just for variety's sake. I plan on him meeting March soon after she leaves the ruins, absolutely beating the tar out of her in a fight, before some fun soul magic happens and she actually gets to talk with him. After explaining the whole looking for sibling thing, he empathizes and takes it upon himself to personally see her mission through to make up for the almost murdering her thing. And then we have my two Royal Guard members that she meets a bit later on, Bragon and Saruman. Bragon is a very brash, loud type of character. Very himbo of him, honestly. While Saruman is a quieter, more calculating strategist, making up that conceptual comedy duo that Sans Papyrus would fill in the original game, which wasn't intentional on my part. I didn't even think about the parallels until writing the script for this video. With a bit of pushing from a post-Frisk spared Undyne leading them, Divvy Dog is officially given the mission and Bragon and Saruman join to help escort her through Waterfall and Hotland before Alphys takes the wheel in ensuring March can meet Frisk. There are also quite a few tertiary characters and appearances from main boss monsters as well if the story gets fully fleshed out enough. So what's the story so far? I'm so glad you asked. Part 4. The story. Quick aside here, I have this part of the video split off into its own for ease of access if I continue this as a series, plus this took 101 drawings and 3 months. So if some of them are a little chopped, they aren't. Anyways, back to the plot. March climbs up Mount Ebbet. From what the kids said, Frisk wandered up here and they haven't come back. With nothing but her backpack and the leftover camping supplies, she treks up the overgrown path. Unfortunately, she made the mistake so many others made and trips down into the underground. She finds herself in an empty room in a pile of yellow flowers. Getting up, she wanders through the next couple of rooms, eventually finding a frogette that tries to initiate a fight. Confused, she tries to talk to it, which inadvertently calms it down. It sits down and explains the rules of the world to her, commenting about how it hasn't seen a purple soul in a long time, before topping off on its own. With slightly more knowledge than before, she wanders through the next rooms, eventually coming across the spider bake sale. After talking to the spider, she finds some ghee and buys a donut. After hearing the description, she's a bit disconcerted by it, but wanting to be polite, she puts it in her pack for later. She asks the spider about her sibling, and the spider mentions that the human went with Toriel, pointing the way she should go, so she says goodbye to the spiders and heads off. She comes across Toriel's house, finding the front door left ajar. March hesitantly enters the house to find Toriel sitting in her armchair crying. She instinctively wants to help, stepping forward and trying to comfort her. Toriel's quite startled by March's presence and asks how she got there, before interrupting herself, realizing that she had fallen, just like every other human. March explains that she's looking for Frisk, and that she was trying to get them home. Toriel understands and feels even more guilty by trying to keep Frisk there now, knowing why they were so determined to get home. Toriel laments that she must have seemed so overbearing and scared them off, that she wasn't strong enough to deny them. If she had, both Frisk and March to be together already. March explains to Toriel that that isn't a problem. She knows Frisk is a tough kid. They climbed up the entire mountain on their own. Their persistence wasn't to be underestimated. March awkwardly hugs Toriel, saying that she'll find them and she'll bring them back to see her. She doubts Frisk left because of any slight against her. Toriel nods, feeling slightly better. She explains that they went through the corridor, that she was going to destroy it, but she couldn't bring herself to make that final decision. March tries to help, saying that it ended up being for the best, as now March can find her way to Frisk. Before March can leave, Toriel heads to the kitchen, bringing a slice of the butterscotch pie in a little bag, saying it was for the trip out there. March is grateful, taking the pie and giving Toriel another hug, this time a real one. Toriel takes a deep breath before letting go, saying that she'll be waiting for the two of them to come back. March nods, heading down the stairs and out the corridor. Seeing the footprints in the snow, she follows them, coming to the bridge. The classic dialogue with Sans and the whoopee cushion happens, with him dryly commenting about there being way too many humans today. March eagerly asks about Frisk, and he explains that Frisk was headed towards Snowdin, and that his really cool brother is going to be so excited about more humans. Wanting to help, he says he'd show her a shortcut. They walk in silence for a bit before March asks about his brother. Sans reacts positively, explaining that his brother Papyrus wants to be part of the Royal Guard, and that capturing a human would be a surefire way for him to achieve his dreams. Seeing March's nervous expression, he chuckles, assuring her that Frisk wasn't in any real danger. Papyrus was really good with magic after all. He then points to a diverging path into the forest, saying that it was the shortcut and that he'd see them around. She looks down the path, turning back to thank him, but by the time she tries, he's gone. She walks down the path, occasionally running into monsters that she spares. That is, until she finds a dusty sentry station. As she's investigating the station, a voice barks at her from a ways away. The dog guardsman approaches her, ready to fight. He attacks without giving her a chance to think. Compared to everyone she's faced, he's incredibly difficult to dodge. It doesn't take long before she's hit with the fatal blow. She crumples to the ground as her soul shatters. But it doesn't stay shattered. Not for long, anyways. With a desperate reach forward, she musters the strength to open her eyes, insisting that she needs to find her sibling. The guard is put off by this show of human determination and perseverance, stepping back as he stares at her on unease. She climbs back to her knees, still repeating that she needs to find Frisk. He stumbles back, still holding his weapon, pausing for a moment, only now hesitating. He just watched a human revive itself. Is this the power of a human soul? The power that can break the barrier? Hi there again, hello. Sorry about interrupting the story, but I haven't actually fleshed it out any further than this. I know I mentioned future events and my character concepts, but I hadn't actually written that part out yet. I do want to continue working on this, especially after showing you guys all my work so far. I just haven't gotten around to it. So if you enjoyed my concepts and want to see more of my work, it'd be so cool if you could like and subscribe. I hope my storytelling earned it. I know this is relatively basic, but like I said, it's just concepts, and this alone was 100 panels to sketch. I do plan on doing more stuff, not only related to Undertale and my personal work, but a lot of other things in the future, so keep an eye peeled for that. Dirt out.